All right, Meg, that's enough. You've had your little dramatic outburst.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most deplorable things that poor Meg was forced to deal with on Family Guy.
Don't be ridiculous. I'll keep him company till you get back. Goodbye, Meg.
Number 30, rejected for not owning a Prada bag.
Daddy, if you really love me, you buy me a Prada bag.
I can't say no to you, honey. What are they, like 10 bucks?
More like 1,100.
You wish I loved you that much.
Teenagers can be incredibly mean, as evidenced by Season 2's Love Thy Trophy. Meg is made fun of for not owning a Prada bag, with one girl commenting on her, quote, big ugly purse. As such, she's not invited to lunch. To make matters worse, she's then smacked in the face by a teacher's bag as she runs off to join the girls.
Meg, let me tell you about popularity.
Mrs. Canner, are you coming?
Bye.
Wanting to fit in and buy her own Prada, Meg gets a job at a pancake restaurant. She eventually gets her own bag, but as is befitting her luck, she's forced to give it up to get Stewie out of foster care. Granted, it's partly her fault that Stewie is in there in the first place, so we can't feel too bad. Number 29, abandoned during a family call.
Hey, guys. Is everyone on the phone?
I gotta go.
Something's in the oven.
I lost a shoe. No, don't leave me on the phone with her.
In Season 4's Jungle Love, Chris joins the Peace Corps and goes to South America. He calls Lois to check in, and both Peter and Stewie join the call to great enthusiasm. They ask Chris about his adventure and seem like a happy family unit, until Meg joins the call. Chris, Lois, and Peter all make excuses and hang up, leaving Stewie alone on the call with Meg. He makes his displeasure known, openly telling the other family members not to leave him alone with her. Even the baby wants nothing to do with her. That can't feel good.
Listen, I am swamped, but, Mom has kept me up to date on everything you're doing, and I think it's just great. Hanging up now.
Number 28, rejected by Brian.
How was school?
It was horrible. There's a dance Friday night and no one wants to go with me. Even my backup guy had plans.
Never mind the baby, she's even rejected by the dog. And dogs love everybody. Brian goes to the junior prom with Meg, feeling sorry that she doesn't have a date. He gets drunk to make it through the night and eventually stands up for Meg when she's insulted by Connie. The two then share a passionate kiss. Having been shown even the slightest amount of respect and attention, Meg becomes utterly obsessed with Brian. That's pretty sad in and of itself, but it gets worse. Meg resorts to increasingly creepy behavior, forcing a desperate Brian to reject her advances. Just when she thought she had found a companion, the rug was pulled right out from under her.
What's that, Brian? Oh, you were just kidding. I know you were. I love you too, Brian. And you love me. You do love me, Brian.
Number 27, her newspaper is hijacked by her own father.
Now, to get this story on the school editor's desk, it's gonna take a portion of my cunning. No, all my cunning.
Meg tries hard, but nothing ever seems to work out for the poor girl. Needing more extracurricular activities to attend university, Meg decides to write for the school newspaper. She makes a serious attempt at investigative journalism, focusing her sights on a scandal in the mayor's office. But finding this noir-esque story very boring, Peter hijacks the newspaper and turns it into a sensational tabloid. Not only that, he runs a libelous story about actor Luke Perry hiding his sexual orientation. Unsurprisingly, the story gets them in serious trouble when Perry decides to sue. So much for a career in journalism.
Oh my God! Meg Griffin, you are so sued.
Dun 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 dun.
Number 26, belittled and fired by Peter.
She gets along with everybody.
She does not get along with everybody.
She's kind of hot.
She's office hot.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
She's the only woman around.
Yeah, in the real world, she doesn't hold up.
In addition to everything else, she's got B.O.
When Lois lands a job at Fox News, Peter sees an opportunity for himself. Hoping to utilize Lois's connections, he begins thinking up ideas for a cartoon that he can pitch to the network. He brings in both Meg and Chris to help with ideas, and this goes about as well as you would expect. Peter and Chris bond over their ridiculous and offensive ideas, while Peter finds Meg's suggestions incredibly boring. Not only that, Peter criticizes her looks and body odor. He eventually fires her from the committee, which comes as a surprise to absolutely no one.
Meg, your services will no longer be needed.
Number 25, the entire 15 minutes of shame.
It? I want those cameras off!
Fourth wall! You're breaking the fourth wall!
Meg's mistreatment is at the heart of Season 2's 15 Minutes of Shame. Meg is constantly embarrassed by Peter, like when he walks around naked and gets stuck in the stairs during a sleepover. Hoping to work out their dysfunction, Meg gets the family on Diane's talk show. This doesn't go the way she wants, as the Griffins get their own reality TV show and Meg is replaced by a sexy actress. This replacement is happily accepted by the Griffins, and they even ignore Meg in public, telling her they can't be seen together.
Why are we here?
No cameras. The TV executives don't want viewers to get confused and think you're Meg Griffin.
Unable to find a place to stay, she then becomes unhoused. The family eventually kisses and makes up, but this entire episode is a tough one for the poor teenager.
She's like that dorky Baldwin brother who isn't as good looking or successful and never answers my letters, but he's still a Baldwin, damn it. And so is Meg. Let's go get her back.
Number 24, thrown off a boat.
It's working.
Just need a little more.
We love you, honey.
The Griffin family enters a boat race against Carter Pewterschmidt, but their bathtub with a sail fails to outrace Carter's yacht. Hoping to lose some weight and gain speed, the family ditches their life jackets. Realizing they need to lose just a little more weight, Peter grabs Meg and tosses her overboard, without the life jacket that he made her take off. But it's not just Peter who's to blame. No one seems to care that Meg was thrown overboard, as everybody cheers when they win the race. The sacrifice was clearly worth it for them, and to make matters worse, Meg is eventually fished out of the ocean and mistaken for a manatee.
What is it, sir?
That's what we call a manatee, boys. Or in nautical slang, the sea cow.
Number 23, scammed by Ivan.
Ah, so you got green card marriage, huh? That's right. American cow fell for it.
It's rare for Family Guy to do multi-episode story arcs, but that's what we got with Ivan Treacher. We first meet Ivan when he hacks and scams Brian, but it's Meg who takes the brunt of the damage, of course. Ivan falls for Meg and she gleefully reciprocates, even leaving her old life behind to stay with him in Russia. The two eventually get hitched, and it seems like Meg has finally found some degree of happiness. Of course, this is not the case, as both we and Meg learn that Ivan is simply using her for a green card marriage. Foiled yet again. Only Meg doesn't take this one lying down, and has Ivan assassinated by Russian soldiers.
Oh my god. This whole thing was just another scam? I'll give you something to laugh about.
What the? Oh no!
Number 22, kidnapped by her own brother.
What is it?
Let's talk about it in the van.
Chris? What are you doing?
Like 15 Minutes of Shame, Better Off Meg is an entire episode dedicated to the titular character's mistreatment. Meg is presumed dead owing to a driver's license mix-up, but her funeral is poorly attended. Realizing that she is unloved, Meg decides to strike out on her own and forge a new identity. Our hearts are already breaking by this point, but it gets worse. Chris becomes enormously popular at school, with Meg's death bringing him a lot of attention. Meg eventually becomes homesick and contacts Chris, but he doesn't want to lose his newfound popularity, so he throws her into a moving van and has her tied up in a creepy warehouse. Well, we know where his priorities lie.
Where is everyone? Damn it, Chris. I don't care that you're popular now. Let me out of here!
Number 21, being sucked into space.
Hey Brian, check it out. Meg's poking around the cargo hold. I'm gonna give her a little scare.
Sooner or later, every franchise goes to space. Chris attends space camp and gives his family a tour of a shuttle. During the tour, Stewie presses a shiny red button and launches the family into space, leading to an Apollo 13-esque storyline in which Mission Control tries to get them back. But while they're up in the shuttle, Stewie decides to kill some time by pranking Meg. Finding her in the cargo hold, he decides to open the bay doors to give her a little scare. But instead of a little scare, Meg is jettisoned off into the vacuum of space. Stunned by the development, Stewie can only open his eyes in horror. But hey, at least he reacted, right? Number 20, rejected by her own stuffed animals.
Oh, this is gonna be great! We'll stay up late, trade stories.
Meg is frequently demonstrated to be a lonely and unloved character. One cutaway gag takes this to the next level, showing that the friends she claims to have are merely stuffed animals. As if this weren't sad enough, the toys then come to life, a la Toy Story, and escape from Meg through the window. Worst of all, Sunshine Bear, a Care Bear lookalike, is called out to by Meg, and rather than remain and care, the animate toy throws itself in front of a passing truck. Number 19, getting the mumps because she wasn't vaccinated.
Meg, come take a picture with this space alien guy.
While at a convention, Peter forces Meg to take a photo with a man with the mumps, infecting her with the disease, which Peter never bothered vaccinating her for as a child. This forces Meg to suffer through the painful swelling and remain bedridden, where, instead of being understanding, her family mocks her, and in Peter's case, continues his casual abuse of her, with her only solace being religion she finds on TV.
This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Number 18, forced to drive her dad and his friends around.
Will you guys just shut up back there?
After Peter loses his driver's license doing something typically moronic and dangerous, Meg is forced to act as her father's personal chauffeur, driving him and his friends around on their drunken escapades. While doing so, Meg must endure their childish antics, which include setting her hat on fire while she's driving and then having beer poured on it. This in particular leads her to get into an accident and prompts her to take out her repressed rage on the other driver.
Meg, that was awesome.
Number 17, sad surprise party.
Hey, what's with all the cars on the street?
Oh, they're all here for your surprise party, Meg.
While birthdays are often a time of gifts and celebration with friends, Meg's are basically the opposite. She's had several depressing ones on the show, but the worst is arguably her 18th. After going to the Teen Choice Awards, the family returns to an empty house, despite attempting to arrange a surprise party, making it clear that no one would show up voluntarily. Although Quagmire does remember Meg's birthday, it's clear that he's only interested in hitting on Meg now that she's an adult.
Hey, welcome to the adult club, huh? And you know what? You got another member right next door if you ever want to talk and stuff. Happy birthday.
Number 16, pelted with rancid meat.
Here we go!
Meg's interactions with the rest of her classmates are generally negative and frequently involve them throwing things at her, such as when she's singled out in dodgeball. An attempt to become popular leads Meg to try out to become a cheerleader, but instead she's pointed towards becoming a flag girl, the members of which are rather, let's say, offbeat. Then, just when Meg's performing in front of the whole school, the popular kids pelt her with rotten meat, and the crowd laughs at her. Number 15, degrading Star Wars cameos.
Hey, it could be worse.
It's worse.
The Family Guy Star Wars specials are among the show's best episodes and are fun reimaginings of both classic films and the series characters. Like most things Family Guy though, they don't do Meg any favors. While most of the main cast is recast in prominent roles, Meg is relegated to cameos as some of the Star Wars franchise's grossest monsters and creatures, from the trash compactor creature to the giant space worm to the Sarlacc. Number 14, sent to prison for harboring a fugitive.
Luke! What are you doing here?
I escaped, Meg.
Meg is incredibly desperate for love, affection, or attention, and one of her attempts to find some sees her befriend an inmate at a prison. When the man escapes, he goes to the Griffin house to hide and to see Meg. When the police are alerted, Meg is imprisoned for 3 months for harboring him. While in prison, Meg becomes jaded and hardened, and becomes a worse person and as bad or worse than her abusers due to the experience. Number 13, tricked into losing her innocence on TV as a joke.
Hey, Meg, I'm Jimmy Fallon. It's great to finally meet you.
Following a makeover, Meg becomes popular and ends up leading a band composed of the rest of the Griffin family. Although her newfound popularity does go to her head, she still suffers a huge embarrassment when they appear on Saturday Night Live. Before the show, Meg is seduced by Jimmy Fallon and loses her virginity, which is filmed and aired on the show. Jimmy Fallon might have been smiling at the camera, but Meg certainly wasn't.
And,
Hey, Fallon, say good night, you bum!
And this is for laughing and looking at the camera during every sketch you've ever been in. Who do you think you are, Carol Burnett?
Number 12, having her kidney stolen by her date on Valentine's Day.
Do you like Coldplay?
Am I a dull white guy? Yes, I like Coldplay.
Meg finally appears to have met a nice guy off the internet and has a seemingly nice date with him on Valentine's Day, only to wake up after he's stolen her kidney. Granted, Meg does manage to guilt trip him into spending a surprisingly nice day together, to the point where he gives her back her kidney. But it's still incredibly sad that this is one of the high bars for Meg's dates.
Sorry, Meg. Black market organs are big money, and I promised my bosses a fresh kidney. No hard feelings.
Number 11, used by a poltergeist.
Okay, Meg, if this works, then we might just have a chance at getting Stewie back.
When spirits menace the Griffin family, surprise, surprise, because of Peter, it's pretty traumatic for them all, but Meg especially. When Stewie is lost on the other side after entering his closet, the family discovers that the exit is in Meg's backside. Peter and most of the rest of them have a field day with this, throwing things so they come out of Meg's butt and using the portal to make other juvenile jokes with no regard for Meg's feelings.
She must have taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Number 10, dumped at a fire station for being born.
Oh, Stewie, how exciting! Your first visit to a real fire station.
While it can figuratively seem like Meg has been needlessly hated on since the day she was born, this is almost literally true. When the Griffins visit a fire station, Lois and Peter reminisce about their children's first trips to the fire station, revealing in a cutaway that Meg's first visit was when they attempted to abandon her as an infant. Even if you don't like Meg, no baby deserves that.
Yeah, you kids always loved your first trip to the fire station. You remember when we took Meg?
Number 9, everything she goes through during a home invasion.
What the hell's your problem, you dumbass?
Home invasions are trying enough, but Meg goes through the ringer when burglars enter the Griffin house. Firstly, she's smacked by Peter with a bat for startling him. Then, she's sent out of the panic room to get supplies, but not before the rest spit on her. Meg is then held hostage by the thieves, who mistake her for a boy. The capper is that she's arrested at the end of the evening for harassing them, and her family doesn't care.
Meg should probably get a lawyer.
Number 8, rescued from being taken.
There she is, hurry!
Much like the film Taken, Meg is kidnapped and sold into sexual slavery while abroad in Paris. Although the kidnapping itself is quite awful, oddly, it's her rescue that makes our list. Naturally, Peter and Lois are apathetic, so Brian and Stewie take up the task. Yet Meg is surprised when a handsome prince wants to marry her and shower her with affection. Of course, Stewie kills him, forcing Meg to return to her usual terrible life.
Stewie?
Hi, Meg.
Number 7, being comatose after nearly drowning.
Meg, you're a good swimmer. Go get it.
What?
Following a rainstorm, the Griffin house is flooded. Rather than get out fast, Peter demands Meg grab him some beer from the fridge, which is submerged. After accidentally trapping herself, Meg nearly drowns, with Peter observing this and callously not saving her immediately. This leaves her in a coma. Although Meg recovers, it's still a terrible case of neglect that resulted in more trauma to Meg. While Peter does try to be nicer to her, he clearly does not stick with it.
Oh, things are gonna be different. No more will I treat you like some kind of alien.
Number 6, almost killed by a fellow student.
Listen, before we start, could you not hit me here?
Meg has been picked on frequently by nearly everyone she meets, but some of the most brutal she's experienced is from Mike, a guy at school she accidentally angers. Mike challenges Meg to a fight and doesn't hold anything back, beating her half to death in front of a crowd. It's only by using Quagmire's advice for her to use her inherent grossness, real great for her self-esteem, that Meg is able to survive at all.
Your kiss is definitely not on my list.
He's older.
Number 5, accidentally made out with Chris.
Okay, see you later, Mom.
On Halloween, Meg and her friends are excited to go to a party, despite some catcalling from Peter. Her brother Chris attends the same party, and both of them wear masks. Unfortunately for them both, a game of spin the bottle leads them to unknowingly spend time in a closet together. Upon realizing this, both of them are mortified at the fact that they've made out, and apparently other things, as well as having this fact revealed to everyone at their school.
We're a disgrace to our family!
Oh, maybe I can get in on this.
Number 4, her boyfriend is stolen by her mother.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Mrs. Griffin.
Meg really has the worst luck with romance, and one of the most mortifying occasions happens when she finds Anthony, who seems to be the best and most normal guy she's ever dated. And we know he's normal because her parents had him examined. Lois, feeling unattractive at her age, makes a move on Anthony, leading to a breakup with Meg. Although, Meg does take some unhealthy consolation from having done some extreme things with him and sharing that with Lois.
Well, when you're ready to talk.
Number 3, sold into slavery.
What if I sold you my daughter?
Huh?
Peter is an incredibly callous idiot, particularly when it comes to Meg. After running up a tab at Mort's pharmacy, he offers to sell Meg to Mort's family as a slave, since Mort's son Neil has a crush on Meg. However, Neil's involvement with another girl makes Meg jealous enough that she signs the contract herself, leading to her performing unpaid, back-breaking labor. Fortunately, Meg is able to get out of it, but the whole experience just strikes us as terrible all around.
You know, I thought I'd be happy being with Neil, but I'm not! This is horrible!
Number 2, erased from existence by God.
Oh, you guys pulled it off. Well, a deal's a deal.
Peter's callousness towards Meg is arguably epitomized in this moment. Peter and his friends go on a quest to find God to force him to stop interfering with sports outcomes, because athletes always thank God for their victory. While they are strangely successful, Peter also manages to extract another wish from the deity, making Meg disappear from existence. While Meg is obviously fine the next episode, it's still awful to think that Peter obliterated her from reality, no matter if it was temporary.
Don't look at her. Don't look at her. It's okay. Just go with it. It'll all be over in a second.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, sacrificing her own self-worth to be the family punching bag.
How about we talk about Chris's mother, huh? Why don't we talk about you?
During a hurricane, the Griffins are stuck inside with no TV. Naturally, Meg becomes the butt of jokes, but for once, Meg tears into her family for their faults and how they treat her, finally standing up for herself.
You're my mother, and you took a child's trust and smashed it into bits in a 17-year-long mission to destroy something that you killed a long time ago.
However, it's almost immediately undone, as seeing the way they all turn on each other, Meg decides to become the lightning rod for their hate instead of maintaining her new confidence. It's heartbreaking to think that they've conditioned her to not seek her own happiness above theirs.
Meg, how could you put us all through that?
I'm sorry, you guys.
Which incident made you feel bad for Meg? Let us know in the comments below.
Oh, you know what? There's no room in my car for your big ugly purse.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.